Welcome. I'm going to show you how to get some early upgrades. Everything, or pretty much everything I'm going to show you, you can get without fighting. Now, I've set things up so that I can hop around a bit because, it's really not always that easy to follow a route from a video. My suggestion is that you use an online map. I'm used to and like the one at the Fextra Life site. Sometimes people talk about the wiki, usually means that because that's, I guess, the biggest one for this game. If you just search the internet, the web for Elden Ring interactive map, that one should come up within the first few results. But some of the trickier stuff I am going to show you. I'm going to show you getting the in-game maps so that you have something besides all this brown to compare the maps you're seeing online to. So the game is linear up to this point, except the optional tutorial tunnel, which just sort of leaves you off right where you started it, more or less. So not really any choices to make, except whether or not to do this tutorial until you get out here. So my starting equipment. So the game is part of the point of the video is also to help out people who are having a hard time getting started, and maybe people who are on the fence about buying it. You maybe like me, you had heard stuff you didn't like about other games like this, other From games, other Soulsborne games, or whatever they call them all. Maybe you even tried some and didn't like them. Yeah, Elden Ring, because it's so open world, yes, it really is different. I have, just by running around the first few zones, I've gotten a total of 8 flask uses. I have them split between 4 health and 4 focus points, and they're at +5 potency. So that's a big help early on, and the best way to take advantage of that, I think, is to use builds that use focus points. You've got enough flasks to use plenty of focus points and health, so might as well use a build that really takes advantage of that. And one build that benefits probably the most, because of a couple other things you can grab early that I'll be showing you, is a sorcery build. I started as the astrologer. The starting equipment puts you at a medium equipment load. I took a couple pieces off to get to light load because it wasn't really that much difference in defense. It'd be one thing if I was, medium load close to heavy and getting a lot of defense out of it. Also, I took off the shield. Shields are actually very helpful. Blocking with them. Parrying, you have to have good timing, so if that's something you struggle with. But just for blocking, just for holding, here's one I found. I'll show you where to get this. Just for holding up and blocking, they're quite helpful. However, if you like being a spellcaster, they eventually there's equipment you get that you want to hold in the offhand to boost spells you're casting with your main hand, and none of those are shields, so you might want to try to get used to dodging. You don't have to do it as much if you're nuking stuff from long range, though. Okay, so first in the order of business is to get the map. You also want to be able to mount, so as you go, make sure to tag each grace and rest at each grace. You should talk to this guy until he is he a guy? I don't even know. Everyone in this game has a mascot. It doesn't really matter. Talk to that person, Vare, until he or she starts to repeating themselves. It's kind of weird in this game compared to others that I'm used to. You often don't get a dialogue box. I'm used to having a separate dialogue box pop up, and there's different things you can ask, and things you've already asked turn gray, and No, none of that. You just have to keep hitting that button, the talk button, whatever you have it set to, until the person starts to repeat themselves, and then you know you're done, finally. And there are some side quests that rely on that. The quests won't advance. So here's the next grace. The shinies, as Vare explains, tell you where to go next, or at least where someone or something wants you to go next. You can totally avoid these guys, and some of them are real easy to backstab. Which, even if you know this is I haven't leveled up at all. I ran around, I unlocked graces. I got the Flask Upgrades so I could show people at the beginning of the video how many you can get. So even a starting level sorcerer with the starting equipment very nearly kills someone from a backstab. And then you can finish them off as they're getting up. If you hit someone too early as they're getting up, it doesn't work. Goes right through them, but you get the timing right. There's a moment there when they first get up, and most opponents don't really have a way of avoiding a well-timed attack as they're getting up. So if you touch and rest at all the graces along the way, you should get a cutscene here in which you get the mount. Then you should go back to the church. If you teleport back there, an NPC will show up, and you want to exhaust dialogue with that NPC also. If you walk or run back, maybe if you forgot the grace, that doesn't always happen. So even if you have to walk back there, well, you'll have the mount now, so ride back, tag the grace, activate it, and then even if you're standing right at it, go ahead and teleport to it, and that should make the NPC appear. So when you do get the cutscene here, in my experience, it always turns to nighttime. And let me show you why that's not good for what we're going to do next. See the bats? We don't want the bats, so if it's night, go ahead and rest. Wait till morning. First, we're going to go grab the map that's here. Now, once you're mounted, you can ride through a lot of the game pretty worry-free. Even if someone does manage to hit you, your mount will take the first hit. No, I'm not going to wait for him. Yeah, watch out, he blows his horn, everyone comes running. Okay, well, some hits knock you off your mount. Good to learn that now, too. But he's doing it to me, too. The same thing I was talking about, hitting someone before they get off the ground. You can get up off the ground by rolling, if you don't just wait to get up naturally. But I was tapping the roll button there, and he hit me anyway, so I'm not convinced that always works. Okay, so now we're going to go... resting at a grace loses any aggro you have, so now we're going to go off and do this other thing here that's a little tricky, so I'm going to show you that. Let's see if we go around here. This is right where the bats were, that's why we wanted to wait the daytime. Don't get too close to the guy guarding the entrance there. We're going to pop over here, sneak. And there's a boy and his dog patrolling. You wait for them to come here and then turn back around. And then you could go behind them. And down the stairs here. You can sprint while you're sneaking, sneak a little faster. You have to manually unsneak to open the door. If you want to be really sure they don't hear, you can sneak again to the chest. And this is an Ash of War, and the thing you use to put the Ash of War onto a weapon. What you can do from here is, now that you got what you need, it doesn't matter if they find you, you're on your mat, you can just tear out of here, because you're already part way to the next site of grace, so you might as well grab that. Alright, and next thing, I also want to show you manually. I know I said I do some skipping around, but this is worth seeing. So this guy is going to hop down, unsurprisingly. But you know, if you say, hey, I wonder if I can jump over this, you happen to be, you wind up in the air just as he lands, so that shockwave of him landing doesn't mess with you. Works out pretty nicely that way. So here's where I got one of the upgrades. Oh, I did actually get this one. You know, when I first started, I was thinking, you know, I'd leave them and show me getting them in the video. But then I decided to get them to show the numbers. I think just that one more, though, is going to make a difference. I'm at the point where you need 2 or 3 per flask use upgrade. So we turned east after that golden seed. We grabbed a smithing stone at that circle of chairs. Then north up the little cliff, and then back to the west. And here is where we meet.
Everyone's been grafted.
Well, I guess she doesn't tell you her name yet. So I'm not going to listen. You can listen to the dialogue when you do it. And this really teaches you to always exhaust all the dialogue, because you think, oh, okay, I got a thing. She must be done, right? Not only is she not done,
I want to know nothing. Can you take?
She gives you another thing. So always exhaust dialogue. Keep going until they start repeating themselves, which I know is there. And then you tag the graves here while you're in the neighborhood. And one other thing I want to show you from here is it's a little on the map. You might not know, you know, it's not always easy to tell where there are cliffs and which side is up and which side is down. So we're going northeast from here. Oh, now one advantage, I think, of traveling at night is that it is harder for things to see you. But I don't know, is he going to spot me here? Nah. He doesn't have great eyesight. Sometimes he roars just because he got to the end of his patrol. It's time to turn around. And then one thing I want to show you here. Sometimes when you want to use these things to get down, the highest one is actually sort of a trap. We went down to that. It looks like we would not be able to get back up. The fall the rest of the way down might not kill you. Other places it will. Sometimes you want to look for the second highest one. And that's going to make things easier. Well, yeah, we could have hopped over there from here with the mount. But this is just easier. So the highest one is not always the best one, and then from here you can go southeast to the War Master's shack. Oh, and something that you can see a little easier, I think, at night maybe. It's like southwest from here, but then we're going to kind of hug this cliff around a little more west, I think. Yeah. Or east, rather. What am I talking about? More east. Yeah, we see that shiny in the distance? Now the thing, you think, oh, let's grab that. Once you get close, and this might depend on your graphics and your what you're playing on. You see that the shiny is actually inside of a statue. You can get that by luring one of these trolls over. This one will probably be especially mad if you grab his lunch there. And if they attack at it or even just walk into it, that breaks and you can get, I think, a smithing stone 2, maybe 2 smithing stone 2s, which is the second tier of upgrading. And a bunch of smithing stone 1s, I think 5 of them. Yeah, another thing, and I don't show where to get all these in this video, but another nice thing you can grab earlier compared to normal smithing stones is what's called somber smithing stones. If you use a weapon that uses those, you tend to be ahead of the curve in terms of weapon upgrade. Because you only need one of those per tier whereas regular, normal smithing stones, it's, for example, it's 2 smithing stone 1s to get a +1, 4 smithing stone 1s to get a +2, and 6 smithing stone 1s to get to +3. Those numbers are out of 25. They make everything as confusing as possible. Weapons that use normal smithing stones go from +1, really they start at +0 to +25. Weapons that use somber smithing stones go from +0 to +10. In the early areas, if you're, one of the things I emphasize is how to avoid auto-advancing any quests. So if you want to do that too, or at least try to, if you're still having trouble, you can go to some other areas to get more upgrades. You might miss a little dialogue though. But if you're sticking to the areas, if you want to try to not have to do that at first, there's a lot of smithing stone 1s to get, especially in areas that look like this cave here. Once you get the map. Smithing stone 2s are more limited, so if you want to try out some different weapons, go ahead and upgrade them to +3 with smithing stone 1s, but save your smithing stone 2s until you decide what you really like, I would advise. And next, one of the things you might find if you're interested in shields, you might see in the map there's a shield around here somewhere. Yeah, you go north from this guy. Yeah, right. It's right here. It's surrounded by guards. You can slip in and grab it without having to fight anything. But there's a shield that's almost identical that I'm going to show you how to get later down in Weeping Peninsula. So if you see that, it looks interesting. But if it's it seems tricky to get, don't worry about it. I'm looking at my notes here. I want to remember when we see them, you want to kill birds that you see along the way. They drop, so I know where we can find some. They drop an item called a four-toed fowlfoot, and you could use that to craft a silver pickled fowlfoot. And that's an item that increases your item discovery, which you'll use when you want to get an item that isn't guaranteed to drop when you kill something. That helps up the odds. So like these eagles, I guess they are here. Let's see what we get. Flight pinion. Yeah, the four-toed is kind of rare. I guess this really smart thing to do once you get one of them is find a place where there's a bunch of birds and use the item to get item discovery to get more of the four-toed fowl feet, so that you can then craft more of the silver pickled fowl feet when you actually need the item. I just kind of like to, I don't really like farming, well, does anyone? So I just kind of like to kill birds when they're along the way, wherever I happen to be going, and I tend to get enough that way. Alright, so next we're going to be looking at some stuff in the other side of Limgrave. So the first thing I want to show you is how to get the map so you can follow along. So that grace we unlocked before when we came out of the ruins with the first Ash of War. You can go there, cross the bridge. Don't go at night, there will be a boss on the bridge. And then you can follow the road. Bang a left at the end of the bridge, follow the road here. Now if you go straight across here, this is kind of dangerous territory. So, and I'd suggest taking the road northeast instead, because you're going to want Disgrace unlocked anyway. And then it's pretty easy to just follow the road, but I'll show you. Well, the road actually kind of, there it is. Tag this thing if you want, see what that does. Oh, you'll see. If you want to avoid the bear, you can just go a little bit off the road up here. And here's this map. Oh, right, I was going to show you, it helps to use these markers. If you're here, you push the A button. You get a beacon that you can see from, real far away. So here's the map. And funny thing with this guy, the first few times I came here, I tried sneaking, and I don't know if he senses your fear or what. Whenever I try to sneak up on him and grab that shiny, he always aggroes me. But if I just sort of waltz over and pick it up nonchalant, he can't be bothered. He's just busy scratching. I suppose while you're here, it can be efficient, instead of having to run back later, to take the elevator in there all the way down, touch the site of grace at the bottom so you can teleport back later, and then just ride it back up. It's a pretty view. It's a long ride. Okay, that's a second Limgrave map. Oh yeah, so I was talking about somber smithing stones. Probably the most popular early game somber weapon. You can get some help getting it. You do have to fight a boss for it, but there's someone who will help you. You want to get close enough to the ruins southwest here. Oh, there's other stuff you can get here too. Near this... Oh, I didn't grab these either. Okay, good. Near the tree, you've got some more wondrous physic ingredients. I'll show you what that does later. Right near the tree. And there is also a dung beetle that has, I think, another Ash of War. Can't backstab these. Well, I mean, I am sort of stabbing it from the back, but I did a charged heavy attack because a light attack doesn't execute a backstab with those guys. So once you get about here, okay, yeah, you hear him howling. All right. After, I don't know how anyone would ever figure this out. Well, unless you happen to talk to Kyle, I'm just going to tell you, it's really. There's nothing in a million years that would clue you in what to do. You just have to happen to stumble into it. Once you've heard that howling, Merchant Calais back over here, you can ask him about it. It comes up as an option in the dialogue. He gives you an emote. Once you get the emote, you do it near this guy, Blythe the half-wolf. He then will talk to you, and he will help you with the fight at this Everjail, and that's where you get the Bloodhound's Fang, a very popular curved greatsword. And make sure to talk to Blythe again after the fight. He'll be standing nearby, and he will give you a Somber Smithing Stone 2, I believe, if you exhaust his dialogue. Oh no, no, that's another tricky one. He gives you the Somber Stone early. You got to keep talking to him for. You don't get an item, but he tells you about another NPC, and if you haven't heard that dialogue, there's something the other NPC won't give you as early as he would otherwise. To get Blythe's help, once you actually enter the Everjail, you should see his summoning sign, just like if you're summoning a player for help, and that's how you get him in. That makes the fight pretty easy, and you can then get that Bloodhound's Fang if that's something you're into. Next on the list. So there's another golden seed, another upgrade weapon down at this fort here. It's just right along the road. Tag the grace first, and I'll show you an easier way of getting the golden seed. It's just sort of sneaking around the back of the fort instead of. Well, you have to sort of go through a little bit of trouble here, but the guy shooting from up there, he's more interested in those other dudes down there we just ran past. These birds, you'll see here also, they can also drop four-toed fowlfoot, so grab them. Be careful not to go off the cliff though. These ones like cliffs, they're almost always near cliffs. And you can just ride in and grab it. I got it already in this character. Oh yeah, I forgot to check if that one I hadn't grabbed would actually change my numbers. I don't think so. I think I probably need more for my next upgrade, but let's see. Yeah, flasks would have a dot next to it if I had enough for another upgrade. How many do I have? Okay, so yeah, I did use all of them. Oh, I should mention too, I started with a golden seed as my keepsake, is that what they call it in this one? You get to pick an item when you create your character that you start with. I guess at this point though, kind of doesn't matter because I have one that I can't do anything with yet anyway. Alright, so that's how you get that one. And from here, a nice shortcut is if you start off going due west, I'm going to take you to a spirit spring. And this is also something that you can show on the Fextra Life Elden Ring interactive map. It's got, basically it calls it filters, or check boxes, and you can check or uncheck depending on what you want to see in the map. You can check more than one thing at a time. It can get kind of cluttered though. So if we go basically due west and get up here, and then just go along the cliff, the Spirit Spring helps us get up the cliff. Makes it possible to get up the cliff at all, so go along the cliff. And I like to mark these on the map. Whoops, pressing the wrong button. You have to go to the map first, then that button. This thing looks kind of like a mount, you know. Four-legged creature of some kind, at least vaguely. Horse-goat shaped. And that's what those do. You can also safely land on them. As long as you land, you don't have to be right on top of them. You can just be kind of sort of close. And you go, okay, I nailed that one, but you can land like about this far away, I think. I'm going to show you one of those a little later. So once you're up there, you can get that grace. And let me show you how to avoid this bridge, how to get to Weeping Peninsula without having to deal with the ballista. This guy fires a ballista if you try to cross there. So we're going basically south from here. Oh yeah, I must have picked up some knives. When I hit that button by accident before, I like to actually put some throwing knives of some type as my default first thing. That way if I press the button by accident, it's not too big a deal. Your Wondrous Physic you can use only once per rest, so you don't want that to be the thing you hit by mistake. Yeah, I didn't put anything in here yet, so it doesn't do anything. I will try to remember to show you that at the next grace. So we go up to these purple dudes. This is where that fight was I was talking about, where Blythe will help you if you have spoken with him. And you can see a spirit spring there. Don't go right for it, though. It's a little far down. You're going to go this way. You got a couple ledges you can use. And if you go over here instead, I picked them up already, but there'll be a shiny on that corpse there. There'll also be something called a red leaf here, called Arteria leaf, right about here. Those, unlike most things like this for example, herbs, most plants respawn, Arteria leaves do not. So the number you can easily just pick up per playthrough is limited. There are some opponents that have a small chance of dropping them when you kill that opponent. So we skip the bridge. If you want, you can get onto the bridge from behind, and you'll be able to get, well, the idea is to not make noise. You'll be able to get an item here, and if you can sneak up and grab that artillery guy, take him out, you could probably avoid the rest of them if you want to grab that smithing stone shiny over that way. And, oh yeah, I'm going to show you how to get them. You can talk to her. She has a side quest. And I'm going to show you how to get the map. Trying to remember to do that first thing in each area so that you can see what I'm doing, see what you're doing. There's an arterial leaf. And one of these guys. Mighty shot. Bow skill. I guess in other, oh yeah, watch out for those dudes. They're pretty major bosses. Only come out at night. Oh yeah, so let me pass time so he doesn't pop back out. So I guess from other From Software games, people online often use the phrase weapon art. And I think I've even seen Elden Ring official patch notes use the phrase weapon art, but in-game they're only called skills. And Ash of War is a thing that lets you apply an affinity and a skill to a weapon, or change its affinity, change its skill. And then some weapons can take Ashes of War to change that stuff. So here's where another golden seed is, except I got it already, and yeah, we are being fired at by some dude way over there. As long as you kind of, I don't know, slightly zigzaggy, there's a hard time finding you. No big deal if you get killed, we're just running around grabbing things. If at some point you do have enough runes to level up, just from, you know, incidental stuff, whatever, you can stop and level up. Maybe there's something you want to buy. But, you know, not too big a deal to lose them at this point. So head back up to the Grace to rest and lose aggro. I don't think he can shoot us from here. I suppose he could arc the shot up real high, but he just seems to not do that. We still have aggro though, so we can't teleport anywhere until the music changes, which resting at the Grace does. Okay, so we're gonna go northwest from here. It's just this is easy stuff to find. You can go ahead and unlock, grab that Grace, and then I'll show you what to do next. Heading west. Here's where I get to show you that you don't have to land right on top of a spirit spring. If you have trouble with what I show you next, you can go across the bridge instead. Just zip right past that guy, because he will wake up when you get close. And you can easily work your way down from the other side. So we're going to use this to... First time I did that, I thought for sure I was dead, but... And then we want to get pretty much right where we came from, but that's how you get up to this next part here. You can also get up here by going the other way from here. Instead of going around this way, you can go around this way. And then it's gradual that way, no huge lift. Watch out for that guy there. What I want to show you, if we can clear these trees. There's a church. The shield I showed you before, I picked that up. This is about the best shield you can use for blocking as an astrologer without increasing your strength. It's a little bigger than these types. You have to increase your strength for 100% physical mitigation now. So I got that shield in this building right here. Not this guy. And then what you do is go into this church I showed you. It's full of rats, so watch out, but they're pretty easy to zip past. There's a spell right about here, and there's a Flask Upgrade item right there in front of the statue. Oh, you know, I meant to show you, it's good to mark where you're going next. I can't even pull up the map now. But basically you make a left after getting out of the church, and more or less go along the cliff's edge here. The Grace up top is very close to the Grace down here, so while you're still back here, before you run in and get aggro, just put a mark near this. You can't press the button when you're right on top of it because the thing's going to teleport. You just move a little bit off of it and put a mark there. That way you know more or less where to go to tag this grace and get at it, and then get out of here. So the next part, and this stuff is pretty easy. So I think I'll just show you this on the map. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, so you can teleport back to this one, head west across that bridge, and there's a catacomb here, which I'll teleport to it, and then you'll see how you get into it. And I put that marker on there whenever I unlock a grace in a relatively small underground area like a catacomb. Basically, if it's an indoor or underground area that has only one grace, catacombs, mines, caves, I put the skull there. When it's like a whole big, like, what do they call it? Legacy dungeon is the phrase they use. Then I know there's it's got more than one grace in it. I know if I haven't finished it. But these, I kind of rely on the fact that if the grace is there, it means I finished it. And if I don't, I put that other marker on top of it. So you come across the bridge west. When you get here, you just kind of have to look behind this column. And that's a convenient grace to have. And I'll show you from here how we get the shield. We go east, up. The shield that I mentioned, that's easier to get than the one in that guarded camp back at Limgrave. This is a little tricky to know about. Go along this cliff edge until you see, well, as you're approaching, if you're looking down carefully, you can see the shiny down there, lower right corner of the screen. And someone might have messages there. Hop down here, more messages, hop down there. And that one is very, very similar to the one in that guarded camp in Limgrave. And then you can grab this grace. Incantation users, there's an incantation, I think it's about here. This is another thing to do. You can unlock this tunnel. This is the bridge. This is where we hop down to catch the spirit spring back up. While you're there, you can go a little further south, unlock this tunnel. The entrance to it is more like here. The incantation is above it, and you can get there by hopping down some more of those tombstones sticking out the side of the cliff on this side or on this side. It's a little rough. There's a bunch of bats flying around, there's lightning striking, and then there's one of those little dung beetles, and when you kill the dung beetle you get a lightning incantation. And there's two more churches in this area, pretty easy and straightforward to get to. Straight north, there's that one. One of them, I think, this is guarded in front. You just go in around the side. Might be this other one. Get pretty straightforward to get to from this grace or from this grace. Check out the map too. For example, there's, I think, up here, there's a holy damaged defense incantation. Buffs are nice. You, as long as you have just enough faith to cast a spell. They don't scale, so you just need enough faith to cast a spell, and whatever. Doesn't matter which sacred seal you use for buffs. And then once you head up this church, there's also there's a cool weapon in these ruins. Look at the map. There's a lot of stuff. From this church, you're gonna go down to this merchant, and let me show you how to get what can be a pretty nice early game talisman for some builds. We're gonna go to this tower here, this round spot, and the southwest side, well, the west side of it, I think, is mostly cliffs. So we want to approach, kind of from the north. So instead of going right at the arrow, well, no, actually, going right at the arrow is pretty, the beacon is pretty good. So you're a little left of it. And this is pretty heavily guarded, but I'll show you it's pretty easy to just run past stuff. Just trying to make it so they don't see me until I'm pretty much already on top of it. You just gotta, hop off your mount before you, while you're moving, you go faster. Oh, someone's shooting me? Yeah, you can take, a couple of those kind of hits. There's a dude up here. Quickly get over to this chest before it's time to do much. Oh, whoops, you can actually miss. I missed the trap because I moved out of it. It's a trap, but we want this on purpose. This is not good. I think we have to reset the trap at a grace because I went back into the smoke and it didn't seem to be working. Oh, I botched that up pretty good. Gotta get out of aggro range and to a grace. Well, a grace will make us lose aggro if the music's changing, so I think they gave up. Alright, let's try that again. Yeah, I forgot I'm not using a shield. I wanted to try to block a couple of his attacks while waiting for the smoke to engulf me. But instead I punched him and moved out. Well, I don't know if I actually hit him, but I took a swing. Not a bad idea to use a shield for that part. See, that other one has a red X because I don't have enough strength to equip it properly. So this one will actually perform better, I believe. I'm not sure exactly what the penalty is. Using a shield you don't qualify for. Some trap chests you don't get to move. You open it and then you're just stuck doing nothing until... There we go. So it's nice to carry a shield around, even if you don't normally use one. Once in a while, some situation will come out. Actually, no, it's not bad for this either. Although, well, I don't know if it's going to help much with this. So when you get trapped, you can't teleport. Yeah, this trap, by the way, is really far up. You also notice this character. I learned something interesting. I've been to Liurnia of the Lakes. As long as you don't touch a grace, or maybe you can touch the graces but can't rest at them. I'm going to try that before the next video. As long as you don't at least touch a grace, as far as I know, you don't auto advance any quests. There is a little, well, there's a trick to it. You'll see in the next video. But in case anyone sees you, I have been to Liurnia, but without messing anything up. So when you get trapped, you can't teleport. You see these little red lines. You have been trapped. You cannot travel to sites of grace until you rest at one. This one's not much of a trap though, because there's a grace right here. The other way, there's an elevator that's at the bottom. The handle to bring it up doesn't work. You have to unlock it from the bottom first, unless you use an exploit. So the Blessed Dew Talisman is over in this. Oh, I actually didn't get it yet. I'm forgetting what stuff did I get ahead of time and what did I leave the video. Now this, yeah. Well, I think this is going to be my best option. So I'm not good at dodging. Okay, he's doing. I know what that is. That's a close range thing. I can turn around and run. Again, don't worry if you die. You get to keep. That's the thing people talk about. Oh, death is part of the game. You're like, oh yeah, death is part of every game. In this game, you lose your runes when you die, but anything else you picked up, you keep. So if he had killed me, I would still have the Blessed Dew Talisman. This gradually restores HP, very gradually. So once you have more HP than you start at the beginning of the game with, it's not, it's really slow. But for the amount of HP we have right now, it's not bad. And the last thing in this video, I'm going to show you how to get one more golden seed. It's underground here. So the first area you get to down here, it's pretty small. It's not complicated. You should have a pretty easy time finding another elevator. It goes a little bit up. That first one takes you all the way down, and then you find one that takes you a little part of the way back up. You're still underground though. And I'll show you once we're going to grab the map very close by here, and then I can show you. But it's pretty easy. Oh, this one, you know, you can figure that out yourself. That's try to stay on track here. Map. Right, so this is where you start. Oh, you know, the map actually, to be fair, it's a little the map's a little tricky here because later you enter this area from a different place, and the map covers some of that too. So it's actually a little hard to show you on the map, but you'll see it's nothing crazy to get up here. So once you do get up here, get the map at these stairs. There's items all over the place here on the interactive online map I told you about. At the top left corner, you click. I think it looks like an open book, sort of, or like you're flipping to a different page in the map, and that's what you can do. You can switch to the underground map. There's an item there. Don't go down there. Well, you'll see what I... Okay, so first, going to the map, we're going to mark where we're going. This one here. This is a fallen column, and we want to get on it pretty close to the beginning. So what happens is, as soon as you get a little further, a few more steps in this direction, 3 opponents materialize, and it's a little harsher if you're already down there. So you might want to, you know, grab that thing for a different trip through. So they're going to show up. So I'm going to actually start a little bit here. Works out a little better if you're kind of to the left, I find. Watch out, see that blue spark in the distance there? Kind of. If there are any nearby, watch out. They're pretty nasty. You're going to keep moving here because you see these guys shoot homing arrows. Yeah, if you can try to grab that shiny. Yeah, when they do the magic ones, those hone in. They curve. They don't do quite like a total 180. That's why that guy missed me. I was jumping over. So there's a stone there, and the teleport is what we really want. Funny thing is that guy, you know, jumping over his head really confuses him. He can't find me. That other one there. Oh no, he turned around too. Sometimes that one will still be shooting at you. They hit hard too. Astrologer here, they might one-shot. So there's stuff to get up here too. Reason I'm showing it to you now though is because it's a quicker way to get to a golden seed that's actually back down in the bottom. So we're going west, or I can't tell from the map, west. Yeah, west and then down. There is some pretty cool stuff up there. There's also a boss up there, so don't get too close to that unless you enjoy challenging yourself. If you do, you're not watching this video and getting all your upgrades early. And right along the wall here is a safe spot to hop down. Barely, that's a pretty long drop. If you want to take the time to do it, you can hop across this thing and get a stone sword key. They open certain doors. It's you go all the way down, hop up. I think you need the mount to hop up onto the next one, and then around the other side is the stone sword key. I didn't get this one yet either. And then from here, it can be handy to unlock another grace. So you want to really sprint, move it from here to the bottom of this cliff. Actually, it's the bottom of this one. See, that guy doesn't spot you till you're a little closer. As long as you sprint to the cliff, he can't get you. And then once he shoots, keep going. Oh, the other one got me though. Wow. That's actually, I don't think that's ever happened to me there once I knew the timing. Well, if you don't make it, you don't make it. It's not too big of a deal. It's just that while you've already gone far enough to get that golden seed, it's convenient to, you're already part of the way there to unlock that grace. going to stop this video here, and next one I'm going to show you how to get a few more things in K-Lid, especially the there's a S scaling sorcery staff, great for astrologers. It doesn't upgrade, so eventually it gets outclassed, but it's good for quite a while. And it's also a nice spell near the staff. I'll see you for that one, I hope. Thank you.